In 1763, Britain spent the equivalent of $4 billion in today's money to win the 7 Years' War against France. But here's the part history classes skip: they didn't fight it for territory or ideology. They fought it for control of colonial trade routes worth 10 times that investment over the following decade. This pattern repeats across centuries. The American Revolution, the Napoleonic Wars, the World Wars, each one followed the same blueprint, and historians from Niall Ferguson to Charles Tilley have documented it. When nations go to war, they claim noble causes: freedom, security, justice. But beneath the rhetoric lies a financial calculus that governments have been remarkably consistent about for 300 years. Consider Napoleon. Between 1803 and 1815, France and Britain waged war across Europe and the Atlantic. The official narrative was about ideology and imperial ambition. But documents show Britain's merchant class saw Napoleon as an existential threat to their monopoly on global trade. Napoleon's continental system was designed to exclude British goods from European markets. In other words, the wars that killed hundreds of thousands were, at their core, about market access and commercial dominance. This wasn't speculation, it's documented in parliamentary records and merchant correspondence from the period. But here's where the mechanism scales up: wars don't just happen because of money. Wars happen because specific institutions profit from them, and those institutions have influence over the decision-makers who declare them. Military contractors, banks that finance military production, shipping companies, and resource extraction firms all benefit when conflict erupts. The more expensive the war, the better. This isn't a new observation. President Eisenhower called it the military-industrial complex in 1961, and he watched it operate from inside the White House. The pattern continues today, though the mechanisms are less visible. When the United States entered Iraq in 2003, the justification was weapons of mass destruction. But Iraq sits on the world's 4th largest proven oil reserves. Oil futures markets moved immediately upon invasion. Major defense contractors saw their stock prices rise 30 to 40% over the following years. The same pattern emerges with lithium-rich territories, rare earth minerals, and strategic waterways. Contemporary conflicts in resource-rich regions consistently involve financial interests that profit from extraction or instability. Modern institutional investors like BlackRock and State Street now hold significant stakes in defense manufacturers while simultaneously managing pension funds and sovereign wealth. The lines between finance, military spending, and foreign policy have become nearly invisible. History isn't written by the victors. It's written by the institutions that benefit from understanding why previous conflicts occurred. The uncomfortable truth is simpler than conspiracy: wars are profitable, institutions are rational, and money has always been the fundamental language of power. Understanding this mechanism isn't cynicism, it's clarity. Next week, we're examining how central banks deliberately engineered financial crises to consolidate wealth. Subscribe so you don't miss it.